Hey, indie filmmakers, I'm Griffin Hammond.
I'm Nick Bodemer, and on this week's episode, we crash a stolen vessel into an Imperial outpost.
Whoa, that's in virtual reality, and in the real world, we're answering your questions today about cropping 4K video, the easiest way to add storage space to your editing machine, and advice for your first documentary. Hello, friends.
Hello, Griffin. Hello, Adam. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is our good friend Adam Kruminas, who you've known since
Fourth grade, I think, is what
Yes.
we determined. Yes, so that was 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've known each other since 8th grade.
Yes.
So we're all in Vegas. In fact, we're in Truthful Studios right now. This is Chris Johnston's space, in Las Vegas, who
graciously offered to host us. Thank you so much.
thank
we
you.
appreciate
yeah.
it.
So that explains the different look from usual.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned. We're kind of raising the production value bar a little bit, and don't worry, it will come crashing down next week.
Yeah, we got some great LED lighting here. We're all mic'd up with our lav mics. We got an extra boom mic above us. It's exciting.
It's very exciting.
So there's two things I want to talk about with Adam today. One is that we just went and did a virtual reality experience at the Void.
The Void, which is at the Venetian here in Las Vegas.
Yeah. So after we take you through our epic Star Wars experience that we just did, then I also want to talk about our video careers. You work for Caterpillar Financial.
Yes.
Doing video production. So we'll talk about some of that stuff too, and then we'll take your questions.
Very good.
Sound good?
Awesome.
Okay, so Nick, explain to everyone what this VR thing was.
Okay, so it's a ILM Labs produced Star Wars event. You put on a backpack that I think actually has a computer in it and a virtual reality headset. And so we all can walk around inside a real environment. So you're in a virtual world, but wherever you see a wall, there's really a wall there. At one point, you grab a blaster off the wall, and you're actually holding a blaster, and you're shooting stormtroopers, and Darth Vader shows up.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert. It was very cool, I thought.
Well, and Adam, you are the biggest Star Wars fan we know. So
Yes.
maybe tell us what some of the plot points of this thing.
I'm guessing it takes place around Rogue One.
Yeah.
Because it features Cassian in the intro video that they kind of give you the basic story of what you're going to be doing. You're looking for a box, a crate of they don't know.
Yeah.
And
Something dangerous.
the rebels, the Imperials want it, so the rebels want to take it. So that's the basic plot of the adventure, and you're running around through it. So.
One of the things I liked about it was you're actually undercover as stormtroopers, so
Yeah.
it kind of you're wearing like this weird backpack and this helmet, but it kind of fits with the story because you're like supposedly dressed like a stormtrooper. And when you're in the adventure, you see all your friends as stormtroopers as well. We actually did this with one other person. It's a group of 4 that goes in.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Charlie. We had a good time.
I thought the funniest thing was looking over, and Charlie's really tall, so we have a tall stormtrooper right next to you.
Also, moderately tall, I think is what we would say.
Yes.
So this was, I couldn't get a sense, I mean, this was super immersive. I mean, I was willing to suspend disbelief right away. We're walking out of a ship onto like a little skiff and then into an Imperial base. And like, I was putting my hands on the wall. There's really a wall there. And I never...
And they did other things, like we were flying over lava, and when that happened, you could like smell burning sulfur, and it was hot.
They had like heat lamps on
or
or
something, yeah.
And a ship comes in at some point, there's like a blast of air that happens.
I had a little trouble because I have virtual reality at home. I have an Oculus Rift, and so I've like trained myself, like if you walk too far, you will walk into something you can't see.
Yeah.
So that fought my ability to enjoy, like I was kind of like peeking down out of my helmet to make sure I was going to crash into stuff. And eventually I let that go, but we were basically done at that point.
Yeah.
This was my first VR experience for the most part, other than just the cheap little cell phone thing that you watch 360 videos on. And it was really easy to trust the environment, especially at one point you had to pull a switch. And you just reach out, and it's exactly where you're seeing, and you just pull the handle down and the door slid open.
I had to like type some code into a computer, and there's real buttons that I'm seeing in the virtual reality, but
They were physically represented as well.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
I just wish we could have had some video of us doing it.
Yeah.
Because I have this feeling, I have no idea how big the space was, but I just assumed that we were just moving from one room to the next room, to the next room, to the next room. But it's like, we start on a ship, the ship lands, we get off the ship, then we get on a skiff, then we're on an elevator, we go downstairs, and then we go into a base. And it was probably just back and forth.
Yeah, we were in like a 10-foot room probably.
Right.
Well, the store, if you look at it, there's an art gallery that was right next to the place, and the wall ended connecting to another. So it couldn't have that.
This wasn't a huge retail
more
space.
than a strip mall, you know, a little like Subway-sized venue. Maybe a little deeper than that, but it wasn't. It couldn't have been that big.
Yeah. I think we actually had a comment about this space. We got a YouTube comment from Faux Hobo who said, "The Void," that's the name of this place, "is amazing. It'll be great if they let you keep footage of you all playing it." Yeah, I know.
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't let us. Actually, I think we talked about it last week that I was just going to contact the marketing people. And
They didn't get back to you.
no, they didn't get back to us.
But what did you do, Griffin?
Well, you're not allowed to record video
Or photos?
or photos in the experience. So I put a lav mic on myself and recorded audio the whole time.
I want to see some quality VR, okay? I've got the Oculus Rift at home. I'm expecting this to be better. Wider field of view, better graphics, good motion tracking. That's what I care about.
I think this is probably the closest I will ever be to actually being in Star Wars.
We don't have much time.
Sounds like they're keeping stats on us now when we...
I'm going to win. There's no doubt about it.
Looks like you'll have to fight your way out.
I'm gonna hand you all your helmets. Do not put these on just yet. You're gonna hold them right in front of you.
Is that a battery?
Not battery, life support. They can't see each other, can't see your teammates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nick's Stormtrooper's a lot shorter than the Charlie Stormtrooper.
That's not really cool, man.
May the force be with you.
Up top! Up top!
We did it!
They also gave us a photo at the end,
Yeah.
Yes.
but it's a 720 by 480
They're
photo.
like, yeah, comes with digital download, and it's like, why is the photo 100K?
Yeah.
It was low quality, but you can see the blurry photo.
Yeah, so I wish I had more B-roll to share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you would recommend it, yes?
Oh yeah, it was so cool. I mean, I think my favorite part was, like you mentioned, the guns. We didn't start with them. We picked them up at some point.
Yeah.
I just assumed they would have started us with the pack, the headset, the gun, all ready to go. It's all attached. But no, these were like wireless guns. And you see them. We took them from like a barracks
I didn't
sort
even
of.
think about that. You know, they had to figure out who grabbed what gun on the fly, right? Because we didn't have one assigned to us.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
And
never
that,
thought
it
about
obviously
that, yeah.
worked, but yeah, it's cool.
And
Those
they s-
ILM guys are smart.
They scored
Yes.
us too.
And I
Yes.
was the best.
Yes.
So our friend Charlie, who was with us, he actually scored the best. He
Yeah.
got 83,000 points.
Oof.
Or rather, there's an 83,000 credit bounty on his head now.
Oh,
Yes.
I see.
He took down 26 troopers. Adam scored second best. You had 75,000 credits. And you actually took down more.
With lower accuracy, probably.
Actually, I'm confused. Adam's accuracy is higher, and he took down more. You took down 33.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe Charlie did some really important.
Maybe breaking the codes or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I was
Hard to say.
I did the codes.
I'm glad we looked at this data before we started recording.
Yes, absolutely.
No, I wanted you to help me work through it right now. I had 66,000 points. Nick had 58,000 points. What happened, Nick? You only took down 19 stormtroopers.
I was really focused on headshots, okay? So, but my accuracy wasn't that good, so I don't know. I was
Yeah.
bad.
How, did you feel like it was actually like responsive?
I
and
did. I
pointing?
did. I would have thought I had done well, but you guys did better.
I think your experience, you described how many times you were getting hit with the vibration
I was
of the
getting
vest.
shot a lot,
Yeah.
so maybe I could lose points with
Right.
that.
Maybe-
Yeah, I didn't
Go
feel that much. I didn't think my vest worked.
What was the system we were even using? Because this wasn't an Oculus system.
No, it seemed to have a better field of view than I'm used to in the Oculus Rift.
Oh, really?
Graphics-wise, like I feel like I've got some experiences maybe with a little bit better graphics, but
Yeah.
the immersion of walking through the environment is really,
Right.
really what you're paying for, I think.
Yeah. Because usually you're stuck in like a room this size. Or
Yeah,
something.
and you're tethered with
Yeah.
a wire. Yeah. What else?
Let's talk about our long history with Adam. I'm trying to remember when we even all got involved in video production. Was that in high school for all of us?
I mean, we kind of always did it
Oh yeah, we had
stupidly as little
Yeah.
in
I
like
had like
middle school.
my big VHS
Yeah.
camera at
Yes.
home. Yeah,
making silly videos.
yeah.
And then we made the Naper Witch Project.
Yes.
Maybe the greatest,
Found footage
Parody
film of
of
all
a-
time.
yes, ever.
Not even a parody, just a copy. That's what you do in middle school.
And that was the one where we shot it summer after freshman year, knowing that I was taking TV1 the next year and would somehow learn how to edit.
Right.
And so we like started making it before we even knew how to edit.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny.
And then we all took the TV class
Yes.
at Neuqua Valley High School. And then after we graduated, I went to film school. Of course, I failed out. You both were theater majors.
Yep.
At different schools.
At
Yeah.
different schools. Yep.
And are you using any of your theater major today?
Yes. I went to U of I, and my major was in stage management, and the ability to communicate with people that talk completely different technical languages.
Yeah.
You have designers, and then you have actors, and at the time, and then like in the corporate spaces, which where I operate, you're dealing with accountants, and then you have creatives doing, trying to produce a final video product.
Really
And they do-
different worlds you're trying to bridge, right?
and basically to understand what this team needs and then what we can do.
I feel like I could probably be a much better project manager. Maybe that's why I work on projects that are really just me. But you're more comfortable.
Yeah, you have to, because you have to appease the client and get what they want, but you also got to make sure you can actually do it.
Yeah.
So,
So what kind of videos are you producing at work?
we do a lot of interview pieces.
You're part of like the internal communications team at your company.
Yes, I work for Caterpillar Financial, and I'm part of the internal communications team. And what we do is communicate things internally. No,
Well, yeah, there's clearly a lot of things that employees need to hear from management,
and we try to keep everyone informed on the big picture, because the more you understand your role and all the cogs in the machine, you can like, oh yeah, I saw this, I should go talk to him about this issue, and you go up and you do it. So the more you're actually an informed employee, the better your engagement is, and just the more higher functioning you are.
And you're shooting and editing.
Yes, I do all my shooting and editing. I do have a wonderful team of communicators that help me a lot. We sit down and have brainstorming meetings when we're trying to come up with concepts, or it's when we're talking about stories, they say like, oh, we have to communicate X, Y, Z. And then I'm like, okay, well, how about we try it this style, or and we can
Well, yeah, our
work
jobs
through
are very
it.
similar in that I'm a freelancer working with clients who have specific needs, and I build that video for them. Your clients are just happen to be
In-house,
internal in your
yeah.
company, yeah.
I can talk a little bit about this, but our legal team wanted to make a series of educational videos to incorporate the new people coming on, and we just did a whole series to suit their needs, make sure they got what they needed to communicate, and it looks pretty different than the other stuff we've done, just because that's the way they needed it to look. So,
Well, and I was really excited to have you on because I just always feel like people who are getting into the filmmaking world need to be aware that these kinds of jobs exist.
the company I worked at before had no real internal communication other than just a corporate-wide email would go out, and then they started feeling the need for it, and they developed my position, and
I forget, did you start as a video producer
No, I started inputting numbers into a computer system.
Yeah.
And I did that for a long time, and then the need expanded. They were, making an internal communication website.
Yeah.
So the department I left was very much in its intimacy.
Infancy.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Cut that.
Our entire friendship together, I've been helping Adam with words.
And I have a team now that helps me with the same thing. They help write my script because.
So you're kind
heaven
of
help me.
responsible for almost all of the technical aspects of production. Is that fair?
That is very fair.
In addition to some of the creative work as well.
Yeah,
But
we
it
do the
sounds like
brain-
you have a team that kind of comes together on the creative stuff too.
And it's something we started doing recently that is really exciting. Is we have so many creative people in a corporate world, and you don't think about, like, we have musicians that play gigs on the side, and then you have artists that draw in their spare time, but they're not our corporate artists, and they still would like to scratch that niche, but they don't necessarily always get to do it when they get off work because you're tired, you just work. So what we've started doing is anyone that has any creative interest from any department, they're like, oh, we're having a brainstorming session on this topic. Would you like to come on in?
Yeah.
So we get in, write all the crazy ideas on the board, and say, okay, well, we can't do that, we can't do that, but we can do this, and we brainstorm it out, and then we usually end up with a nice, more fleshed out product, more inclusive product at the end of it, just because you get that other people's point of views, and they may have no interest in video whatsoever, but they like to come up, and we've even had people volunteer, hey, I can provide some music for this. And they're like, awesome, I don't have to hunt down and find it, you can write it, great, or I can make this graphic for you. Great, well, you just saved me 4 hours of production time.
Well, I think we've both been lucky to work in corporate environments where they are flexible and recognize if you have the talent, let's have you do that job. Like I had a job at State Farm where, like you, it wasn't a video job at first, but they needed video production done. I stepped into that role. That became my career.
Even the step to the media group, the need was photo retouching.
Yeah.
And then I showed such an aptitude and kept making suggestions on, let's do some more video, let's try this. And they're like, we're just going to make a job description, here you go. and that's
it worked out.
And it worked out in that pace. And then
I think people should recognize that this is another avenue if you are into video production. You don't necessarily have to move to Hollywood.
No.
There are probably thousands of companies across the US and around the world that have internal video needs. I mean,
absolutely, and we're even expanding ours. The demand is there. And we even work with outside vendors that there's smaller production houses that's what they do. They go around and just freelance corporate videos that we keep some of their numbers on, because they have me and we have some internal resources, but there is some times where I'm triple booked.
Right.
So we call an outside photographer to come in, or hey, go shoot some B-roll at this event. But
most companies aren't going to have a staff of 100 video professionals. They just need the few to get the regular videos done. But then, when you have a weird project,
we can expand as needed.
Yeah. And then something we're doing a lot now is training, because social media is huge, obviously. So we're trying to expand our internal kind of social media channels. So I'm trying to get more people comfortable with doing a little video production on themselves. Like if they're at an event, pull out your cell phone, shoot it horizontally. If you feel comfortable messing with the settings, max out that file size. Give me the biggest thing you can give me, so I can play with it and polish it later. But shoot it and then give it to me. And then, opposed to just having a little blurb in our newsletter, let's make a little video that shows. Or if you get a really cool interview with someone that worked on the project, shoot it yourself. Yes, it looks like a cell phone video, but it still adds more exposure than just a little blurb with a little side photo in the newsletter, and it tends to feel more real.
How long have you been at CAT?
Next year's gonna be my 3rd year.
And how many videos have you produced?
I have produced well over 200 videos for.
I mean, that's like mind-blowing to me. Like even you who do this full time, I'm guessing you don't come close to that number in that amount of time, do you?
I mean, I think in the last 2 or 3 years, I've probably made hundreds of videos, but some of that is like variations on a video. You make 5 versions of something before it's finally done, or you may have a web version and a TV version. Things like that.
I think that sounds so cool to have. I mean, you must be doing different stuff all the time.
One of the cool things that I started at Fruit with, and we got the system implemented, and then they already had it made at Caterpillar, is webcasting and streaming using a TriCaster, and it is so wonderful to use that piece of production equipment to stream corporate meetings, because you can go full screen from your presentation slides straight to the presenter, and it's more dynamic. And I've had multiple people coming up that they rather watch the webcast because you don't.
It's more dynamic.
It's more dynamic. You watch the presenter when you need to.
Yeah.
They get the information on the slide. It's more interesting to watch, and they're not standing in the back because usually, if the house is full, you're all the way in the back and the view's bad. You're watching the broadcast.
Is that like a
every
television switcher? Is
yeah,
that what we're
it's
talking
a
about?
TriCaster 460 is the one I've used actually at both locations, and
Can you do a star wipe?
yes,
Okay, because
it's
I
the
would
most
just be
important.
star wiping it all day long.
Yeah,
So you're using studio cameras for this kind of thing.
yes,
But I want you to talk about,
my kit.
what
that
do you
carry
actually
around.
shoot a lot of videos with? I
Right,
think people will be surprised.
right
So you have a
now,
multi-million-dollar budget.
absolutely. No, I am so blessed now that since my old department was kind of getting started, it was hard to get money, so you had to just rely on what you had to get it done. And I end up using a lot of my own personal gear and stuff. But now I
That's
do.
what I did too for my last 2 jobs. Yeah.
I do have a studio budget. They take really good care of me. I have a nice studio with studio lighting, green screen, LED panels, and stuff like that. But right now, things have been so busy and so many new initiatives have been happening. The demand's been so high, I've been triple booked. So carrying all that kit around with me is very hard, especially in an 11-story building where I work. So what I carry around, I've been shooting most of my video using my Galaxy Note. This
Sumi?
Sumi, I think.
Yeah.
It's
a
a
gimbal.
$100 gimbal from Walmart. Because if something happened to it, I didn't want to be out of line. I just wanted to try it. The price was right. And it works fantastic. And then for stationary shots, I do have a nice carbon fiber light stand, but I have a selfie stick with a
It has a little
standard
quarter-inch screw mount on the
screw
bottom.
mount.
We
in
gotta
it.
get this guy some Petco Ultra clamps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
those-
so actually, yeah, because Adam was explaining to me that he shot something where you were looking down at a table.
Yes, I was making a tasty video
So you used
for a project.
You did this with the Galaxy Note in here. It's shooting 4K.
Yes, shooting 4K.
And you put like a sandbag on a
shoved.
ladder.
I put my light stand through it. I shoved because we had to do it quickly, so I didn't get ahead. I had it through the ladder with sandbags sitting on top to keep it completely flat. I had a step stool to get up and just push the button after I started. And we did use my LED panels in the studio to make that project, and it turned out really well.
Is that the one you showed me the other day?
It is.
That
and
was excellent.
I'm hoping.
When you told me it was shot on a phone, I was like, what?
Well, he lit it. So, like,
Exactly.
that's
Oh.
what's important.
Yep.
And that makes a big difference. And also, using small gear, I'm shooting in a lot of offices, and a lot of this aesthetic looks the same. I tried to vary it up. We have a very pretty building and with a lot of cool pieces of equipment and stuff that I get people standing next to, but still an office building with small space. So this gear I can get into places and get more interesting angles than I have to bring my big production because of the footprint. That limits me creatively.
Oh, yeah.
So I can get at least my interviews looking a little different with this stuff, and then also because my turnaround is so quick, if I took too long to produce it, it's old news, or we've changed, or we've advanced in the initiative, so we can't use it. So I also have to just be conscious of value versus my time, or time of the project. So we've been editing so fast, and I do carry this little guy with me, and it's just a lav mic that clicks into my.
It's for a phone, yeah.
For a phone, and it has a ridiculously long cable, so I can hide it very, very well.
Yeah.
And it's a nightmare to coil up, but
What brand is this?
it's the.
Maono.
It was
We'll
the.
put this in the show notes.
It was the first one that popped up on Amazon that wasn't super expensive.
Yeah.
And we bought several of them, and they.
So you've used that for several videos and no problems?
most of the recent videos, of which I think I'm at 15 right now that have been with this guy and kind of this setup.
Well, yeah, we'll put all these things in the show notes so people can check it out. When you told me about your setup with the sandbag and the ladder, I immediately thought, I have to give you a gift, and Nick already mentioned it, but you should take this Petco Ultra Clamp, my favorite device.
So kind.
You're going to love it.
So kind.
Oh,
You've never given me a Petco Ultra clamp.
I do have another one with me, man, if you really want it.
oh, thank
So what you're saying is, good lighting, good sound, and it doesn't cost a fortune to make things that look professional.
And you can do stabilization with something as simple as a selfie stick.
Yep, and
actually, this thing, so you could either put the selfie stick right on the Pedco Ultra clamp, or you could take your little your phone
with the
clamp
Pedco
off.
Ultra clamp,
Yep.
the options are endless. Ding.
they
Really need to pay us money.
They
Find
really
these
need marketing
marketing people. They don't even know I exist. They don't know that I'm their biggest.
You're their biggest fan, their biggest advocate.
And something awesome about Internal is I get to do a lot of the fun corporate stuff.
Yeah.
But then we also get a chance to make fun videos, like the video we were shooting with this guy overhead was promotion for our United Way week, and we do a huge charity week just to get the office moving, having a lot of fun. So we get to do silly projects like that. Just it increases morale, it gets involvement. They always have a purpose, usually, and a message in it, but it makes people. But it also gets me a chance creatively to explore like different genres.
Yeah.
We did a spoof recently of different television commercials,
Yeah.
so I got to explore how each one was made and dissected. And again, it was only really short and really fast, but
Every time you describe your job to me, it sounds like you're having fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
I have to commute. The way I look at it is I don't have to commute to work because I drive over an hour to get to work every day. I get to. I look forward to going towards my team that supports me, and then all the fun projects we get to do, and it feels like we're making a difference internally on it. So
everyone try to take some positivity from Adam's example.
I'm just full of negativity. So this is nice little balance.
It's very hard for me to be big, and it always works out. If something doesn't work, your initial concept always works. There's always a way to fix it, and then
that's what I like about video production. Lots
and
of
if a
flexibility.
big complex thing, we're like, oh, we can do this and this, and then we've gotten into the video, and we're like, we can stop here. The message has been given. Let's just cut the video here. This makes sense. And then if we need more explanation, we can either do a write-up or we can explain it another way. It took a huge weight off my shoulders production time-wise, so I'm like, yeah, let's do it. This is the message, and it's a tighter package anyways. So yeah, not everything has to be elaborate. Things evolve, and corporate space is a wonderful place to get started. And one of the key terms that also get thrown around, it's creativity in a framework. You have a lot of rules. It's corporate space. There is red tape and stuff.
I feel like I even saw a comment about this on our YouTube channel on a previous podcast. We had talked about how I don't feel very creative unless, like, if I have the world of possibilities, that's hard for me.
Yeah.
I do need to be confined. I think a lot of our listeners agree with that. You need like a starting place.
Oh, absolutely. One of the first things I did when I got hired at Caterpillar, I was so excited. They had the brand guidelines lined out, which is like what our brand stands for, and then all the rules that go with it. And I read, I'm like, wow, a lot of basic design decisions, they're made for you, which in my perspective was positive, because I'm like, well, I don't have to start from scratch.
Right.
I can, this is the yellow we use. This is the way the font should look when you're doing this formal type of video. Oh, great. This is how our shots typically look.
This is important for people to know. Especially when you first get into a company, you're all excited to like try all these new things. You do need to recognize that they all have like a style guide. So when you go and make like that new social media account for your company, recognize that someone's gonna care about the way the logo is centered and how much spacing it has around it.
And I definitely recommend it, because I also, at my other position, got to work with great brands like Spalding and Russell and stuff like that. And their brand guidelines is, they're not there to stifle creativity. It's to keep that consistent message, so people know what to expect. And even internally, we try to, because we have so many different needs and we don't have a firm book, we do try to make certain things look the same and develop our own to make sure it's like, oh, this is a kind of a spotlight video, so those are going to kind of look the same, use the same bumps at the start and finish, same intro music, and oh, this one's about a charity event we did, so we do that, has a different look and feel to it. And then again, the more off the wall kind, we're just making a funny gag, those can be
that's when you can really
explore possibilities and don't have to really fit into a framework, because they're just supposed to be attention getters to get the real information.
Should we answer some questions?
We should answer some questions before we go today. Let's see. Well, first we had a comment from the Faustian Man on YouTube, who we talked about last week, stock video and like what you're allowed to show with locations. And I thought I had read something about how the Eiffel Tower has copyrighted their light show, so you can only like sell footage of the Eiffel Tower during the day.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, the company that does the lights on the Eiffel Tower will straight up hit you with a DMCA takedown notice if you upload footage.
Straight up hit you.
Straight up. So yeah, that's something to look out for. We also have a YouTube comment from Mads, who is wondering, on the GH5, if you want the extra zoom within the camera, should you use the 4K live cropping feature or digital zoom 2x? What's better?
Well, I don't know. It used to be on the cameras that did 4K at first, like the GH4, I think it was always a crop in on the sensor, right?
It was like a little bit of a crop.
Okay.
Because it was like maybe it was a 5,000 pixel wide sensor, and so if you're shooting 4K, only 4,000 pixels across. Let's just shoot those middle four. On the
now
GH5,
they sample it down, right?
On the GH5, it now shoots the full sensor.
Yeah.
But they do have a feature called extended teleconversion,
Yeah.
where you can punch it into the middle of the sensor.
Yeah. So it's still the full 4K resolution. You're just using less of the sensor and lens.
Well, no. If you use extended teleconversion, I think you are shooting the middle, like 1080 pixels. So I think you are shooting in 1080.
Gotcha.
Sorry, 1920. I could be wrong about that. Oh no, I am wrong about that. You're right. It's the middle 4,000.
Good talk.
Yeah, thanks,
That's
Nick.
Hey, I wasn't gonna argue with you.
But the other feature, I was confusing the two things. Mads is talking about 4K live cropping. The live cropping feature will shoot in 1080 and really shoot the middle 1080 pixels on
really
the
give you
sensor.
some zoom.
Yeah. I mean, I think the 4K live cropping feature can be kind of, there's a lot of settings there. I would just, I don't think that's necessary. Yeah, just crop it in post, I would think. Or you can use the extended teleconversion. I've definitely done that to punch in a little bit, like when I was shooting bears and just wanted to be a little bit further away from bears.
Smart.
Just punch into those middle 4,000, yeah.
Okay.
This is a question for you, Nick, from John Birklund, who has a 2000. Well, it's,
maybe Adam will want to answer.
It's a computer question, but Adam is also equipped to answer this.
Okay.
I think maybe I'm the least equipped. Adam is slightly more equipped, and you're the most equipped.
I like it. Let's go.
John has a 2015 iMac. Made the mistake of getting a Fusion drive.
Okay.
Just like I did.
Yep.
We're sorry.
You should be.
He'd like to add some SSD storage, solid state storage for faster video editing. He's just wondering, what is the easiest way to do this? Do you get internal drives, or what's the cheapest way too? Or do you get external drives?
So again, a Fusion drive on Macs is a very small SSD tied with a very large spinning hard drive. The small SSD basically acts like a cache. It's not particularly easy to upgrade that little SSD to a bigger one. It's possible, but like iFixit rates it as very difficult. You have to really take your iMac totally apart. So I don't recommend that.
Taking out the SSD in the Fusion drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they really are two separate components.
Yeah.
But you could go ahead and just upgrade that spinning hard disk to a full SSD. Okay. It's a moderate difficulty. You do have to remove this glass from the iMac. So it's not for the faint of heart, but it can be upgraded.
If you do that, does the computer still think it's a Fusion and treat it?
You would have to probably reinstall the operating system, and you wouldn't build the Fusion drive at that point. Those actually, they do show up as separate devices, the little SSD and the spinning hard disk, and you can make them into a Fusion drive.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to do that. So you could just replace the hard drive with an SSD, or if it's booting and running fast enough, like the applications, you could just use SSD externally for footage and things like that if that's your limiting factor. So
should Thunderbolt handle that?
Yeah, I would just look for a Thunderbolt 3 external SSD if it's really for footage. Now, it's not going to speed up all the day-to-day operations of the computer, but that might be running fast enough. And I think in 2015 they were still doing slightly larger SSDs for the Fusion drive. They've since reduced those, so it might be okay.
Yeah.
And then with my system, I actually use an older iMac to edit, and then since I operate between two studios, and we're looking to upgrade our machines, and we don't want to swap on any of the internal hardware.
Yeah.
I use externals like crazy.
Yeah. Do you actually edit off of externals?
I do.
Yeah.
And
SSDs or spinning disks?
Spinning.
Like
spinning.
regular hard drives?
Yes, just regular.
Yeah.
And I'm using one of the ones I carry around is just a Passport USB 3.
Yeah.
And it's still fast enough to do most of my single camera edits and my 4K edits that I don't even notice the slowdown, because I'm going from a USB 3 to a 2 on the front of the Mac because the Mac doesn't have 3.0 at that point, and then at home it is noticeably faster on renders. But if your video is only 2 minutes long, you don't add that much extra time to wait.
Yeah.
Go get a cup of coffee, or go to in my case, go to another corporate, meeting you have to go to.
Yeah, I edit off external drives sometimes. I try to do it internally when I can, especially for big projects where I'm stacking. But like, when you have a single video layer,
I'm just a snob. Don't buy spinning hard disks anymore.
Yeah, that's why you hate my Fusion drive.
Too, so much. So much.
We got a Twitter question from Tyler Burgett, who was talking about how we've talked about LUTs on the podcast, and he's just wondering, what is a LUT, and which ones do you like using? He actually likes using Panasonic has a Vlog to Rec 709 one that he uses most of the time.
What's a LUT, Griffin?
It's a lookup table.
Lookup table.
And that's about all I know. Well, my understanding is you have flat footage like Vlog footage, and you apply a LUT to it in post. You can either use a plugin to add a LUT, or like Final Cut has in the settings for the shot. I imagine in Premiere too. You're a Premiere editor.
Yeah, I don't typically use them, but I know it can add them.
Yeah, and then you add a LUT to interpret that flat footage not flat. It adds.
And this is traditionally used when you're using raw or log footage, right? Because you're getting raw sensor data out, so you have the most dynamic range, you can do whatever you want, but if you just look at it, it looks bad.
Yeah.
It looks boring and flat. So a LUT is just a way to kind of put a regular color profile like the camera would do normally with a regular recording.
And I think people make LUTs for even like the Cine D shooting style on, you might even have that on your G85. It doesn't have to be log footage, but like the one he's using is made for the Panasonic Vlog to go to a Rec 709 look. I can't even remember the name of the one that I use all the time. I've put it in the show notes a few times. I'll do it again this week. Yeah.
Thanks for being prepped.
But I don't know. I don't think it matters too much what LUT you use. I think just you can install a few on your computer, see which one you like for the project you're doing. I'm mostly just doing it because the color correction tools in Final Cut aren't really designed to go from a completely flat look. So I kind of just need to get it up to a relatively normal color space before I do the rest of my color correction.
Makes sense.
And if I'm not mistaken, that I think Adobe has some standard color correction software that's independent from both Premiere and After Effects.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember if they've changed it or what it's called.
I think they do. I don't use it.
That it might be an explanation. So check out Adobe products, and they might be able to help you with that as too.
DaVinci Resolve, I think, is also a very common color editing product.
I feel like color correction or like color grading is always the thing I'm not an expert on. But yeah, you need to know what a LUT is to operate in this space. Our last question today is a Facebook message from Sebastian, who is a big fan of Sriracha.
You made a documentary about that.
Yeah, I did. That's what the one he's talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you meant the sauce.
Yeah.
I just assumed.
Oh, sorry. And he's such a big fan, he has many of my indie news episodes from Indie Mogul saved to his hard drive.
You probably don't even have those saved anymore.
No. I have deleted them all. So Sebastian is shooting his first feature documentary, and even though none of us have made a documentary feature, he's wondering if we could give him some advice on a project like that.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Even if you have to shoot on your phone, go out, shoot, get the experience, have those problems, fix things in the moment. Don't let anything stop you.
Yeah.
So, and do it the right way.
Well, yeah, every feature documentary you make will be your first one if you never make one.
Right.
You can't just keep like thinking about making one. You need to go out and do it, and it'll be the film that showcases all the abilities you have right now, and then the next film you make will be the film that showcases the things you've learned from that film.
every project gives you that little extra bit that as you're in, the next one's always better.
Yeah.
So don't let it stop you and go do it.
Yeah. This has been a weird podcast, actually, being in the same room with you.
I don't like it.
I don't even know how long we've been here. Normally we have
what
a
did we
computer in front of us.
Yeah.
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
There
Perfect.
you go. Done.
Boom.
No
So does that mean
editing,
we've
just
wrapped
spit
it
it
up?
out.
We're at the end?
Yeah, I mean, that's all the questions we have this week.
Fantastic.
Unless you want to talk about Star Wars some more.
No, I think we're good.
I'll just remind everyone that Nick only took down 19 Stormtroopers.
My eternal shame.
And congratulations, Adam, on your 33.
Thank you.
Well, we'll be back next week in our respective New York, Las
normal,
Vegas
yeah.
locations.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to bring a couch into my office, I think,
Yeah.
because this is nice. I kind of like it.
I like this.
Well, yeah, I want to thank Truthful Studios again, Chris Johnston for having us. Thank you, Chris.
And Sam Sickers.
And thank you, Sam, for operating the second camera. And thank you, Robotic Slider, for operating the third camera.
We'll have to put that in the show notes as well, because this is a cool
that's
setup.
pretty cool
Oh,
setup.
yeah. We'll have to put, a lot of things in the show notes.
You got a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah. Well, we got an extra day at least. Thank you, Adam, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you later.
See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Are you doing it? Hey, are you going to do just like?
So I'm going to do my opening line here. Nick's going to follow it with another
Okay,
line, then I'll follow it with
perfect.
another line, then we'll say hi to Adam.
Sounds good.
Ready?
Yep. And Griffin, can you clap? There you go.